Zach is in the channel or Zach Burrito. It's hard to know. Who knows? People are here.
I'm there.
All right. I mean, like, welcome to the Severance podcast, right? Because we're going to talk all about that Severance. Except we're not. Anyway.
Oh, Severance time, baby. I have not.
I am so looking forward. So this is going to be a fun one, Jeff, because I'm going to have to get out. Here's the fun news, Jeff. For me, I have my razor blade knife just right behind my my station. And as I discovered, Jeff, we can start discussing why. Jeff, it was a fun game of where is Jeff going to leave his knife occasionally open this weekend. Welcome to I Must Dre'K You, the sister podcast of I Must Break You, a subsidiary of Jeff Has Cool Cards, which you can help support over at patreon.com/Jeff May. I am your host, Dre Alvarez, found most places as Nerd Numbers, and with me, not as always, but most of the time, is Jeff May, found on the internet as Hey There Jeff Bro and Hey There Jeff Bro 2. How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, it's me, the Hey There Jeffro guy. Hey.
It is 100% true, Logan. Jeff does have sharp knife. He has like a knife that, you know, makes it's a lot of sense for opening boxes and all sorts of stuff. 100% needed, Jeff, because honestly, how much we want to talk about this? I was at your place this weekend, and it was impressive because I also went to Burbank Sports Cards, and your place was up there in terms of kind of impressiveness of a mecca to collectability.
My place as in my studio space, or my place as in the city of Los Angeles?
Both, actually, because as I mentioned, we went to Burbank Sports Cards and House of Secrets and LA Cards, right? And all of those, LA Sports Cards, all of those fantastic collectible places. I'm going to rank your place up there. Your place is actually rather cool to go through.
And Blast from the Past. Don't forget you went there as well.
I did go to Blast from the Past as well. Yeah, they have the Jeff Tila there if you're ever interested.
The Jeff Tila, yeah.
The Jeff Tila, it is the... Oh, man, that would be... Man, that would be interesting. I can't afford it, but that was a fun game we had there.
So now you're looking there, and we're looking right there at this Jubilee, which is sitting in an actual Masters of the Universe protector case that we wanted to give you something to carry it around. This is actually created by our good friend Randall Maynard.
Yeah, when we talk meccas of collectability, I'm just getting a few things open. But I went out to help you with your studio to help get some stuff organized, but it was, business pleasure trip where I also got to see Adam Todd Brown at Mint on Card, the comedy show. Okay, now, by the way, sorry to immediately jump to comments, Jeff. So basically what we're going to be doing today, going through some of the cool stuff I brought home going to Jeff's place, going to break some Loki Upper Deck cards, and then a fun story. So Mocker in the chat asked if I got to experience some LA Mexican food. Now,
so I can't. The screen's not frozen, is it?
Screen is not frozen. I am just opening stuff. And you know what, Jeff? Let's tease a little. So, this is a kind of sort of stand-in for the upcoming nerd episode that comes out this Thursday, and hopefully I'm going to be up tonight editing. Comes out tomorrow for you patrons on DC versus Marvel, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but Jubilee, for some odd reason, the premise of DC versus Marvel is that two gods are fighting over the fate of two universes, and they choose trial by combat. And of course, you're going to choose some of the greatest heroes in DC and some of the greatest heroes in Marvel. You're going to choose Superman. You're going to choose Silver Surfer. You're going to choose Hulk. You're going to choose Jubilee and Robin. All right, Jeff.
Yeah, it's very funny that happens. Yeah.
So let's do a few things. So this is from Randall. I am curious about this. Did you grab this from him before the DC versus Marvel episode or after?
I'm not 100% sure. It wouldn't have mattered either way.
The only reason it would have been like extra funny after is, again, this is a tease. the nerd episode on DC versus Marvel with the fantastic Michael Vincent Bramley coming out this Thursday to everybody, hopefully to all of you tomorrow. It's a lot of editing. It is a giant size podcast for good reason. So I do have to finish editing that tonight. But if you had bought after, I would have laughed because of the comment I made. And yeah, this is a Randall original. I'll pull out Jeff, right? Because this is a cool.
You don't have to pull that thing out. Leave it in there.
Okay. Well, all right. But the one reason I was going to mention, we were discussing this with Randall. He actually, these are just quality things. His name's written on the side. That's just you for your protector. But this looks really authentic and really awesome as a figure. And Randall prints these on vinyl. So this is really high quality. So again, Randall made it. If you're looking for custom collectibles, really
and you can find it at Randall's, DOLL. Is it DOLS or DOLLZ?
If let's see, and I will try and get a copy of that over in at some point. Now, I also was able to kind of come home with some collectible comics. So Jeff, let's talk about these. This one, I'm impressed. This is a signed cover from none other than Jeff May. And the reason this is cool, and I'm doing it wrong. Don't do it by the, okay, so on the right side. The reason this is cool is back for episode 666, all right.
Issue
666, The Amazing
so
Spider-Man.
It's Randall's, by the way, at Randall's, RANDOLLZ. He's a great follow, so.
Right. But they put various local comic shops on the cover of Spider-Man Saves It. So that's Entertainment in Worcester, Massachusetts. He is almost impossible to see, but Jeff May is in the middle there flexing, and I have it signed, and Jeff drew an arrow to himself that blends in with the black. But that is a cover of The Amazing Spider-Man 666 with Jeff May on the cover, signed by Jeff May. Luckily, this is you had multiple copies of this.
Yeah, no, that was like they were doing that obviously as like a comic shop, exclusives. You could get your own comic shop printed up on there and stuff like that. And the comic shop I worked at, That's Entertainment, did it. So I got all up in there.
This is another signed cover. This is actually another nerd integration, cross synergy. When we did the episode on the Ben Edlund run of the Tick, the original, when you went out to Worcester, but then you also went by Brockton, you went by New England Comics, the originator of the Tick, and you actually met the colorist of the Tick and got some merch and comics, including a signed remark from him.
So that's Bob Polio right there. He was the colorist of the Chromatic. He was also the letterer of the Tick, among other things as well. Like he was he did cover work on it. He was the colorist. So when they were bringing the Tick into color formatting, he's the one that did it. He was also the manager of New England Comics.
Yeah, it's the Tick definitely started, as we discussed. Go listen to the nerd episode of the show. Did 100% start as an indie comic, so it's not shocking the number of just overlapping, number of hats that they had to wear, etc. And that's even, as we discussed on the show, part of the reason why there were, breaks in between. And I don't think, is it, let me get the name. I don't know if Randall's is correct because I'm not seeing any posts from that.
RANDOLLZ.
I'm not seeing, is it Rand.Dolls? I do want to get this right, but I'm not going to stress too much. I'll find it in a minute. It's Ran. Okay, so just so we're clear, I'll show this really quick before we go back. It is Rand.Dolls on Instagram. Randalls. It is Randall's on eBay. And let's see, is the Jubilee up there? Or did it even last long enough? I think you pulled it fast enough. They didn't even leave it on eBay or on
I saw that he had put it up, and I was like, why don't you go ahead and pull that off of eBay?
That's another, by the way, this is another cool one there. The Rogue with the Captain America shield. That was an awesome, awesome one. All right.
He does great work. He does good.
And I mean, like I said, seeing it in person, because, I purchased, we purchased for each other. I purchased you that Spock, but that wasn't even an original. That was a, whatever you call it, right? Where you...
It's called a Kit Bash.
Kit Bash. All right. Jeff knows how much I love Rogue. You got me an Uncanny X-Men #1 Jim Lee, and I guess this is... I want to be careful.
It's the 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 variant.
So, yep. Now, this one is funny, and we had a nice debate on this. I almost paid your local comic store for this. This is X Factor number 6, the first real appearance. So it's like Apocalypse appears out of
I
frame.
said it was signed
It
by
never.
Rob Friends, but it's actually signed by Bob McLeod. I'm so sorry.
Oh, what's up?
I thought that was signed by Ron Friends, but it's actually by Bob McLeod, the inker.
I mean, are we going to get like into Clerks territory? I'll go return this and be like just a tracer, Jeff. No, that's awesome though. But here's the thing: this was kind of a grail object for me when I was younger. Jeff and I had a debate on this because this wasn't an ungettable book by any means. It was probably a little out of my price range if I couldn't find it just in the box. And, of course, if you went through the long boxes at stores, this one would always be missing. X Factor 1 through 5 would be there. 6 would normally be missing. And then I think 14 or 15, the first appearance of Archangel, would be missing.
Yeah, 5 was usually gone too because that was the first cameo appearance.
I saw a lot of 5s, actually. I know that, but I have 5. 6 I didn't have. I think my uncle probably sold because it probably had a little value. At House of Secrets, this was about 70 off the shelf. Probably could have talked down. I looked it up. That with inflation would have been about 28 when I was searching when I was younger. So that lines up. But yeah, you were like, I have a signed copy with the inker. You didn't, it wasn't like I was like, Jeff, if it's not the artist, no. But you basically said, hey, don't buy it. I've got a signed one. And you found this quick because you have a ton of boxes, a ton of back stuff in your house. And you found this quick, but yeah, I came home with this, and this is a grail object. This is awesome because it is one of the only copies I have missing from my original run of X Factor, which is actually at my brother Daniel's house. So, and this was just another tick episode. You had a couple ticks from Worcester or Brockton, I guess, and you just said, "Hey, you want to take a couple home?" And I was like, "Absolutely." Those are some cool things to come home with. And then actually, I think you've been holding these for a while for me because I know I requested back in the day, but sending comics in the mail is much harder. You go over to patreon.com/Jeff May. Jeff sends cards in the mail. Those are much easier to send. You can send those in bubble wrappers. You still need to find a new printer for that. But this is by, let's see, Tom Krajewski and, did I get the last name right? And Jennifer Muro.
Yeah, Tom Krajewski and Jen Muro, yeah.
Yeah, the primer number. So again, this is funny because the original is the trade paperback, or is it like it's tiny? I guess you still qualify.
Well,
This
it's actually technically a digest graphic novel. So it's a digest size graphic novel is how it was originally released.
So digest graphic novels, Hauser, but then it was re-released. Oh, God.
Like, let's try to explain the difference real quick. If it was released as comics first, then collected, it's a trade paperback. If it's released as a like sort of book form first instead of comics, it's considered a graphic novel.
So and I mean, heck, how can I not love this? Teams up with the Teen Titans. But this is primer that number 1 is from the reprint, and then I think this is basically what primer, the clashing colors is what primer 2, I guess you'd call it. But yeah, man, those are awesome. Those are rad.
Yeah. So you get them all. There they are.
So those are super rad. So yeah, and as mentioned, okay, and I guess as Logan is mentioning, Bob McLeod is a Highlander. We forgot to mention that. So he's gonna. Well, have you attacked him with a sword yet, Jeff?
You'll believe to know that I did not, and I believe he is New England, so it'll be tough for me to get my swords over there.
All right. So by the way,
like another Rogue in the Savage Land variant. Yeah, I mean that's fair, but also
it's
kind of going on right now. So
it's also kind of a popular. You're like,
no, it's happening.
You're
now.
like, I can't believe.
It's not like, hey, remember this? Remember X-Men 275 from 30 years ago? It's like, hey, she's there right now doing that thing. So,
all right. So, by the way, we get to keep up I'm going to have to name this segment like Where in the World, and we're going to have a team up, I'm betting. Let's see if I can get this lined up. I need to see. Come on, Jeff. There it is. The one problem with using I'm using just like a comic, thing there, is since it's uniform color, like figuring out where to place things on it, I need to get it. But this is going to be a team up, Jeff. So, Oliver, grab this for cool friend, or friend of the pod, Zach Yates.
I didn't know you were going to be revealing.
I am. Apologies, because the reason I'm going to be revealing this, Jeff. So, Actually, I do apologize if I blew up your spot, Oliver. Zach, close your eyes just in case. But the reason is I have a segment that I started last month, like Where in the World. Jeff has given me this to hold and promise that if Alexander ever shows at a Star Trek con, it goes there. But I have the Where in the World like thing where I've sent some cards to Croatia. Next up is going to be New Zealand. So I'm going to be sending out to New Zealand and tracking how much it costs, how long it takes to get there. And apologies, Oliver, if you're watching. And apologies, Oliver, for blowing up. Like, if it was supposed to be 100% surprise and not. But the one cool thing is we haven't decided if we're like the octuple dragon, the quad dragon crew, but Oliver was.
So by the way, that hologram is invisible.
I love this, right? This is Spider-Man. You can't. It's a Miles Morales Spider-Man. It's a Miles Morales Spider-Man. He's drawing on. But Jeff had one of these, and I have one that's blended in.
Yeah. So Zach, Oliver, on your behalf, made the donation to the Taffeta Darlings stream, so that we could get that X-Men first series Gambit hologram signed by our good friend AJ Lacasio to you, because it seems like you really wanted it. So a big shout out to Oliver, who is right there for doing a really, really good thing for charity and for you, Zach. So a big shout out to him.
And yeah, this is the quad dragons, the octuple dragons. We couldn't decide, Jeff, but that's because Oliver is at Mint on card, as was I. We went out with good friend Lisa Harden, and we're like, this is the Double Dragon crew, because we all did the Double Dragon podcast. So we couldn't decide would be the octuple dragons, the quad dragons, but the quad dragon crew is going to send something to New Zealand. And it works out well because, as mentioned, I'm doing a segment on the show. I've done Croatia now. I've done New Zealand. Can probably just cheap out and do Canada next, right? Is an easy one. But if there's a fun place to send, that'll be that. We also had some Babylon 5 cards we were going to break on the mailbag together. We didn't get to. So you have 3 of these. I have 2. Which friend sent these out, Jeff?
Those were sent from my buddy Tim. My very good friend Tim sent me those.
So Tim is awesome. We will battle over those, and I think let's see, Jeff. While I'm open up the Loki box and kind of discussing, if you want to say anything about the studio, the state of Jeff has cool cards, etc.
I mean, we worked. We did a lot to sort of clarify, clear out, and sort of eliminate a lot of the chaff that I had in that studio. Get rid of a lot of the cards that would be considered maybe not worth the effort of trying to sell, just donating them, getting rid of them. We cleared out boxes and packages and all that wonderful stuff that went on there. I crouched so many times that I may have permanently destroyed my knee.
I mentioned this, like, I am really hoping that if not this week, in the near future, your back studio is open for you to be able to record in, because your current setup is you sit on a couch and like crouch, and you are a giant. That is true. And watching your setup and how you do it, it's something, man. Like how you break cards, it's like doing a squat for 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, nobody has to see how the the sausage is made. They just want the show, and that's what I do. They want me to break cards, I break cards. If I'm a little scrunched over for half an hour to an hour, that's fine. Another thing you did, Dre, is you got to see me kind of fight.
Okay, and I've got the perfect backdrop as we talk this. So, as an FYI, MVB on the upcoming Nerd Show is just freaking amazing. Drew this. This is, for those that don't know, in the original DC versus X-Men, one of the more contentious fights was between Lobo and Wolverine. And this is a recreation of that with, I believe, this would be me being Wolverine, right? And you being Lobo, if I recall.
I mean, I believe I would be Wolverine in this one because it says these cards ain't for show, and isn't it these claws ain't for show?
Let me, I'll see if I can find it.
You don't have to look that up,
because we're gonna talk about your.
You can get the cards at some point in time. So I'm just telling you, I'm right about the claws ain't for show thing.
All right, but anyway, so
You can trust me on that. I'm pretty good at comics.
DC. Are you, Jeff? Are you? Okay. But so did this, and so here's all I'm going to say is if we are discussing, yeah, I actually know this is interesting. Just sorry with apologies, Steph. I got to do this. Got to be me. You know me. Maybe overthinking this, but
Oh yeah,
I
definitely
I
overthinking
would
it.
I would be Wolverine here based on the original image, right? So you see
It's
Wolf.
not about placement. It's about phrases.
Hmm. Hmm. All right. Well, argue in the comments, is Dre right? It's about placement of characters and kind of like, and then I guess it's interesting because it's color. I'd have more Lobo coverage. You
Actually,
have more Wolverine.
I mean, you're Flash because you're Impulse. So
Yeah. Well,
there's
I've got
that
like the
too.
Impulse hoodie, which is awesome. All right. Well, as Jeff noted, let us know in the comments who is right, who's wrong. I did get to see you at your gym, and what I did do, Jeff, is someone said you in the comments noted that I punched you. Reality is Jeff actually punched me in a very safe way. I held a punching bag and let Jeff punch. And let me tell you, um, there is no world at all. So there are 15 cards per pack, Jeff. I'm going to open 5 of these times. Okay. There is no world, 5, where I would stand a chance in a fight with you. Jeff is scary. Jeff knows how to box. That was really cool to see.
What was very funny was the first way you started holding the bag was like you were holding it like you were slow dancing with it in the seventh grade.
And you're like,
Like you
I'm going
put
to
your
break your
hands on
arms if I
like
do
the
that, is what
hips
you
of it,
said.
and you were at a distance, and I was like, Dre, you need to basically hug your shoulder into this
So
thing.
this gets silly where I actually have a good example. This is from my son, has a can of soup that he brought up for some reason. So if like this
That
was
was
the
nice.
boxing, the bag, if I was holding it like that, which is what I did, you were like, no, you've got to be like on it, right? Like if you're holding it, you have to be
Yeah.
flush, not like this. Because otherwise, Jeff will punch it. And there's something in there, whatever. So Jeff will punch the bag and your arms will break. So there
Yeah.
you go. Thank
Yeah,
you,
you
can of
got to
soup.
see me spar with some people and train with them and hit them and all the stuff. It was real fun.
That was impressive. And then I got to see some of the stuff you were mentioning as well. Um, if you're shorter, you really need to keep your arms up. Hey, Jeff, do you mind if I open those B5 cards tonight? You
Yeah, man, go for it. Open. I just want you to open some cards,
all
man. I
right?
want some
Let's
people
go.
walking in here to see cards being opened on the card
All
opening
right, so
show.
I already got my hit, probably, or a hit, which are the fun ones. So we've got the Scared of Being Alone, and then we have a film cell, which isn't
So,
horrible, but these just, not to be mean, these in the digital era,
is
these
it
just aren't.
numbered?
These aren't as cool. It's TTFS 24, but it is not a numbered film cell. It is
I'm
just.
gonna assume that that's not your hit though,
It's
because
probably
that's
not
like
like.
that's a hit for a blaster, not for a hobby box.
It's if you look on, and I can look up the stats again because it's been a while, but if you look on the hits in a box, right, it'll be like you're expecting X many of these, whatever's of those. So that's like a sub hit, but you're right. It's not like the main hit. So we'll see. I have gotten like a metal hollow plate out of one of these that was dented though, because we have noted before the
A metal hollow plate.
like a metal it's like a metal ID badge of
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like the guy, and I'm forgetting his name, and he's kind of a character actor that's done a lot of funny stuff. And you said you sat beside him on a plane. I do love these cards. Like I do love the branching timelines on the top, and then the variants have different colors.
Oh wait, so was that a Time Theater film cell?
Yes,
So it says rare editions average 3 per case.
but is it rare or is it normal?
I don't
Like I
know
can't.
what that means, rare editions, but
So it's TTFC 24. If you're one thing we were learning, Jeff's pretty good at is like seeing like eBay sold at, etc. Now I was looking this up before this, and I have most of this set, which is the cool thing. Except for things like this, this is a how am I like an insert, right? So for all time always 14, that one's looking familiar. I do love these, the green variant, like just how they look. And it's
Yeah,
kind of hard to
right.
tell. I've noticed on this set, I can't tell if it's intentional or not, but I've noticed it on all of my Lokis. So it seems like it's just either the normal printing quality, but they, so I can't tell if that's intentional, but if you kind of look along the perimeter of the, like the chrome and stuff, it does look like a little, you know,
Yeah.
so I can't tell if that's poor printing or just the way, if it's like poor printing just as a whole for the set, and I don't know how that would grade. But I think barring like a Sylvie card I pulled, I don't think there's anything in this set I've
Yeah.
planned on
Also,
grading.
yeah, that time theater, not worth very
Yeah.
much. I looked it up.
Well, it'd have to be like a good name, right? Not the Boo. We got our Kang. Some of these cards are good, but especially some that are in the dark background random things like the next two cards. It's just like have some purple. All right, that's
Yeah, I mean
definitely
that's the thing about like stuff that's dark. It's hard to
that's I do love these the TVA profiles. The so we got our Renslayer.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think I may have her. It's hard to remember. I haven't broken these in a while. I'd gotten a couple
Yeah,
hobbies
it's been a
myself. That's
few weeks.
awesome.
Oh, nice spark.
That's a really nice one. And I think this is when they're at like the end of the universe. And this actually still looks like that looks cool. So again, it's kind of dark, but it's when they're at like the end of the world. So cool. No, it's been a while since I've done Loki because I got myself a couple hobby boxes. I think it was like in the 60, 70 range when I got them, and they're down to like the 55 range. I'm not sure if that overlaps with, say, I don't know if there are redemptions in these. I know there are autos, but I know, for instance,
I mean, I don't think there are because the only ones that I would think of that would have to be a redemption would be like a Tom Hiddleston,
oh, that's cool. That's a
and
nice one.
his autos are in there on
Yeah.
card.
Because I do know like the Space Jam set you have. I know that like the price at Dave and Adams dropped, and I picked you up some. But part of that
Yeah,
is there are redemption cards in there that are no longer valid, so I can see that. It's like, congrats. How much time do we have? Yeah, that's just a cool one. If you went over to patreon.com/Jeff May, this is the type of card that you'd get in the mail, the alternate time branch AT8 or ATB. Oh, Adam Todd Brown. It's Adam Todd Brown
yeah.
1. The very first Adam Todd Brown. I'll send that along for Adam at some point. But yeah, you're back. You had a bunch of stuff. We got a bunch cleared out, as mentioned. Hopefully your knee's all right, because you were mentioning that today. That's good,
It's
and
been
I
a
can
little
see.
rough, but like I couldn't really walk particularly well. I spent a lot of the day yesterday stretching. I was a little ginger on it today. I went to the gym to try to use it and like see if I could, stretch the hamstrings out and make sure all the good stuff is going to be okay.
Okay. All right. That is actually, it's again a dark one, but that's kind of a cool card. The
Oh, I
Sylvium
love those.
Loki. Let's just talk about it. The green. That's number 83. This remains one of my favorites. Just the classic Loki, glorious
Oh
purpose.
yeah.
That's a cool card. I mean, there's, I think there was like one core that I pulled before that's one of my favorite scenes in the show. So, and then, like I've mentioned, a couple of these, right? Alabama 2050, and you're like, cool card. It does one of the
Yeah,
sets. What?
yeah, that's the one thing about the MCU cards by Upper Deck is like sometimes they're great, but after a while, you're just like, oh yeah, this was an interesting choice.
Well, what I loved, one of my favorite sets you've broken, Jeff, is, and I actually saw them on your table when I went out there, is like the
Eternal.
He-Man. Oh no, the Eternals. For some odd reason, I don't even remember seeing them in your area, Jeff. They just get wiped from. Oh, these are cool cards, by the way.
Give them all away, man.
The Eternals cards, like I can't even remember seeing them in your studio. Or ever. There's something about them. It just makes you forget. You get Men in Black. This is nice. These are like glossy, but they don't seem bricked. Though these weren't in like a box. This is a Kosh card number 11. Jeff, depending on the affordability of this set, I may have to just try and complete this B5 set now. All right. Actually, I may have spoke too soon, though. These next ones are. Hey, here the. We'll see it. Not seeing paper loss though. All right. Mr. Morden. Yes. Love that.
I have no idea about any of these cards. So like, and when I say any of these cards, I mean I don't know anything about this, um, like this show.
Interesting. I don't remember. It's interesting because on the back it's showing Soul Hunter. I didn't remember this guy, Jack Maynard, in the Soul Hunter episode, but I guess I can't tell if this is special. Okay, so this is a prismatic foil, 4 of 8. So this might be something. I'm excited. I'm going to have to look up the set. Like I said, see the affordability. But this is Michael O'Hare is the actor, Captain Sinclair, who was in season 1 and then had to leave. Look at that, Mr. This is a weird Mr. Morden. It's not, he normally has much different hair, but he's a fun character.
So if that, I mean, these boxes, depending on what edition they're at, you can get sealed boxes of like Skybox Fleer, like
so
95.
This is Fleer Ultra 95. And then
Fleer
actually,
Ultra.
this is shocking. We actually have a Loki card in here. Look, that looks straight out of Loki.
Yeah. So from that box, people want usually like $175 to $210, and then
So if I
there
like
are
wait it,
cards later that are a lot cheaper.
okay, Jeff, what was the song the telepath sang to block out Bester's scans? We all know.
I don't give it. I don't know.
We all
I don't
know
give a
it. We
shit.
all know it, Jeff. It's Babylon
No.
5, man.
Oh, okay. So it must be then Babylon by David Gray.
That's a good guess, actually. That'd be kind of super meta. All right, Jeff, last pack. Then we can kind of talk the week, where stuff's going, and then I'll get to editing Nerd more. The Shadow.
Yeah, get back to work. What are you doing playing opening these cards?
It's so much fun. Oh, these are nice cards. Is this I got just
What's
a Captain Sheridan? That's, I like this set, Jeff. So I'm gonna just have to see, like, I'm gonna definitely, get an eBay alert or something if these go cheap. Or if you ever happen to see them cheap, keep me posted. I really like this set.
There's a CCG for it. There's
Lanier.
There's different seasons of trading
Do you recognize
cards.
this guy? It's a fun one, actually.
No, he looks like a little peeper.
This is Bill Mummy. He was originally from Lost in Space.
Oh, it's the Bill Mummy from
Mummy, yeah.
Will Robinson.
And then,
And
of
he
course, the
also
most
played that,
famous.
like murderer in that terrible movie we watched on Gameplay Unemployed Movie Night.
Wait, what? I was thinking the Twilight Zone. He's famous for that. He's the kid in that. The cornfield. Although actually now we are starting to see a little, my Lita Alexander's got a little scratch on the bottom. That's a bummer. I forgot. What? I do not remember this episode worth a damn. The Long Dark?
Seems to me like you're a little bit behind on your Babylon 5 watching, Dre'K.
I think this is the one where there's like a parasitic creature that comes in a ship. Yep, a century-old ship that Copernicus stumbles into. Yep, there's a Franklin falls in love and they suspect her of murdering. Speaking of Dr. Franklin. There we go. And, oh, this is cool. What do we got? This is Mimbari, or Centauri, sorry, Emperor ship. I love these cards. These are great. And then Points of Departure. We all remember that. I don't even need to regale you with that episode about the lost Mimbari ship that comes. We all know it, Jeff. We all know it.
Totally, we do.
All right, those. Okay, so shout out to Tim for finding, because he found like 5 packs of these. I kind of regret not inadvertently stealing them, which I did try and do because I knew we split them up. Because Tim sent, so we're like, Dre'K can take some, you'll take some. And then I misplaced mine. Shocker, we had so many cards while I was out there. And then I was like, oh, these are mine, and I picked up yours. And then I was like, oh, wait, these are mine, and I left the right one. But I wish I'd have taken them both, Jeff. All right, well, the Lokis were awesome, courtesy of LA Sports Cards.
No, wait, which ones?
Didn't we buy these at LA? We didn't buy them at Burbank.
No, they were cheaper at LA Sports Cards.
I don't know if Burbank had them. I know Burbank,
They
the
did.
NBA hoops had
They
them
were
slightly
they were
cheaper.
like $80.
They were 80. What are you doing?
Yeah, they didn't know about the price drop, I
All right,
guess.
we'll let them know. Did get to meet the Card Father. There we go. Which
You did.
I do argue that's so clearly a gave himself that nickname. But anyway, whatever. It's is what it is. So Jeff, rest of the week. So hopefully I didn't knock you out of commission too much because you and I were both pretty like. Shout out as an FYI to Michael Vincent Bramley, who will be on the episode of Nerd, as we keep mentioning, coming out hopefully tomorrow and free to everybody on Thursday. He was on Gamefully Unemployed's Hypecast, and I missed it because we were doing so much stuff with your room. I wasn't around on Friday like I normally would be to listen. And then on my plane ride home, I was so tired I kept passing out during during Hypecast, and he gives us a nice shout out at the end. So had to wait till today to hear it.
Because we're so good. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, he says that actually. He said shout out to both. He said didn't know when it was coming out, and I was like, yep, next week. So we get to get in like a fight where, strictly speaking, this was his first appearance on Hypecast. He kind of in timeline appears on Nerd in front of Hypecast, but publication wise, very much like old episodes of Batman, appears on Hypecast in front of Nerd.
Sort of like Dread versus the Raid, where like Dread was written first and began production first, but the Raid actually managed to get it out there.
So Oliver, as we usually do at the end of the show, I can give you some kind of peeks behind the curtain. We have started planning next season of Nerd, and I am excited about where it's going. I would like to find a way to get Babylon 5 some point, but it would, of course, not be the whole show. Like, what it would be, and I've kind of thrown this to you before, Jeff, is it would be something like 60, 70, 80. It would be something like find a subset of episodes, like one or two, that we watch, kind of like what you would do for Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, where you'd watch like 2 episodes, but instead of being...
If it's not the first 2 episodes, I ain't doing it.
Ooh. That's rough, actually, because the first season, most would agree, like, it takes a while to find itself. When it does, it's really good. So anyway, that is not that will
but the other reason is like I can't go into the middle of a show I've never seen before.
Have you tried,
like,
though, Jeff? Let me throw it out. Have you tried?
It would be insane. I refuse. I'm ahead of the game refusing that.
As an FYI, I mean, this makes sense because I just picked like the top 5 packs in the left. There are 15 packs in the Loki box, and it goes up to 90. But look at that fun collation, like completely skipped the 10 to 20 range. All right, Jeff. So we got, I'll mess up her last name, and I don't want to do that. So Tuesday, we'll have the swear cut and the free episode of Andrea
Gazzetta.
Fantastic artist over at, again, look for Jeff Has Cool Friends anywhere you can on the interwebs. Patreon gets you exclusive content, which, I mean, without spoiling too much, you absolutely got to find out about Andrea's favorite Pokemon. Just absolutely.
That's a good one. That bonus content's very fun.
It's amazing, the bonus content for the upcoming. So, yes, if you're not signed up at a paid Patreon tier that gets you that, you absolutely should be. You'll get Nerd early, and this is going to be the first season of Nerd with exclusive bonus content because there is a very logical place, very much like Jeff Has Cool Cards, to cut it off. That'll be out Thursday. Wednesday, you've got a I Must Break You. Do you know what's on deck for that at this point, Jeff, or have any ideas?
I'm gonna take a look. I mean, we reorganized what we have. When we were redoing the show, right? When we were redoing the studio, excuse me. So, like, I'm gonna look through and see, because what did we break already? We did Marvel, because we did the Marvel Series 2 on the Friday show, right? So I don't want to do Marvel. I mean, I have some Garbage Pail Kids I might be able to open. Various different stuff I could do. I usually have to wait until I know exactly what's going on before I go for it. And I also sometimes will go in and see if there's anything easily available on if there's anything new available at like LA Sports Cards or Burbank Sports Cards that I can grab.
And we do have some ideas for the DC versus Marvel, which will probably be in April, and we'll send some of those to MVB. But I don't think
Yeah,
for the remainder of March is what we're planning because we've done some recent DC and Marvel breaks.
yeah, it's a surprisingly more difficult way to figure it out, as you wouldn't believe it. It's like trying to get that done and trying to see if you can do something with with somebody who's kind of far away and organizing it and not wanting to put pressure on somebody who was a guest. We were like, because Dre and I were discussing a lot how to do a break with MVB and to try to do that. And I kind of really laid out to like,
What are you doing, Upper
I guess
Deck? Yeah.
me doing being a proxy on behalf of MVB.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, what I'm
Look at
liking
it.
is we're getting a nice to get all corporate speaky cross synergy for like how we do nerd guests, how we integrate it with Jeff Haskell cards. I'm excited because that's been a lot of admittedly the last couple of years of nerd and even the last couple of years of Jeff has cool cards of just kind of like figuring stuff out, and I'm really excited for like the upcoming year because it's like I do think we're starting to stabilize more on like process, etc. And so now we can maybe start streamlining a little more, which incidentally, on the episode with Andrea, you discussed that a fair bit. So I'm excited. All right, Jeff. Thursday would be Mike Mayhew Studios. If you're
Mike May Studios on Whatnot. A lot more people have been watching that show. A lot of my friends have been picking up some really really cool stuff while they're watching, and that's been really fun. So we have that going on. We in theory we'll have a mailbag on Friday. I did forget. My buddy Charles sent something that throughout the whole process I seem to have misplaced. So he sent me a DM. He's like, "Hey man, did you lose that thing?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." So I still have something from the mail, but I might it might have to be sit on for a little bit if I get no mail. But you know,
well, I'll also throw. I mean, just as an FYI, as we keep alluding to, I was out there and like it was a fun game of Tetris. Oh yeah, and Zach asked if you are I must breaking you. Yeah, that's what we were just saying. Yeah, so I must break you's there. We just don't
oh yeah,
know what at this point. But no, to kind of take blame, Charles, we kind of had to Tetris Jeff's place quite a bit. So it would be like we're gonna move everything off this table over there so we can move this table. By the way, good old upper deck quality. Got those cards. Good times.
you got upper deck.
You got upper decked. Got decked like Jeff decks, but in card form. Nah, it doesn't work.
No,
Yeah, but anyway, so there were two things, Charles, to apologize if you're watching this episode. One, I was out there. We were moving a lot of Jeff stuff around, so a lot of the stuff got moved, put in different places. And two, because I was out there and we were doing so much, if you watch last week's mailbag, it is we do a ton. Like I had I bought you a goodie bag when I came out there. You had stuff for me. So it did wind up being the case that we had a pretty pack. And then we had that awesome box with, I'm not going to spoil it. I'll say this. I got an Ironheart in our Friday break, and Jeff got something of equal or greater value. It's hard to say. Hard to say. It's of at least equal. It's like the buy one get one for the same price or more. Jeff's was either the same price or more. By the way, this is just a rad card, is a bummer. Wild thing about Babylon 5 as a show, it's got like a higher morbidity rate than professional wrestling. If you look at like a poster of people from season 1 of Babylon 5, over 50% of them are dead,
oh geez.
including him. So Michael O'Hare, Mira, I'm going to mess up her last name, but Delenn, she was the French lady on Lost. You may know her from, yeah, so many people. All right.
I did not watch Lost. I watched 2 episodes of Lost.
And then were you lost?
No, I just didn't care. I didn't think it was a particularly great.
Bruce
thing going
Boxleitner
on.
is still alive, or it's a clone of him in the electronic world because he's Tron. It's a Tron reference.
Tron reference.
Good soundtrack. Okay, so Jeff, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else this week you have planned. You said possibly a mailbag on Friday. I know why you weren't on Unpops this week because you were hanging with me this weekend. I don't know any other podcast thing to plug before we.
Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure. It's been, but I mean, the weekend has been so, it was a very busy weekend. And Dre, thank you again so much for coming out and hanging out with me. I'm glad I could show you some of my favorite spots in Burbank and Los Angeles. Wished we could have had more, but we got a couple days and a job to do. But I was really happy to have you here, Dre. It was really, really fun, and I got to take him to Bob's Big Boy. And
okay, Oliver just caught me. Tom and Jeff watch Batman. I'm assuming is Wednesday, right?
oh yeah, Tom and Jeff watch Batman's gonna be. Yeah, totally forgot. Yeah, I'll be recording that with Tom tomorrow.
We had a lot of puns while I was out there too. By the way, one last story I want to end on before we head out. Mocker asked this early about getting LA Mexican food. You offered me 3 choices for lunch one day, and basically 2, was Mexican, a surf and turf burrito from a gas station, or a really good pastrami sandwich. And I was like, I will take the pastrami sandwich. And then they were out of normal bread, and they put it on like a flat bread that was basically a tortilla. So it's like I tried to get out of eating a burrito for lunch. They were like, "No, you'll have a burrito." And Jeff, I'm not gonna lie,
it was on lavash bread. Yeah,
you were saying the taste on that pastrami is a little overpowering because normally it would be on like a panini press, like a little thicker bread.
it would be on a pressed torpedo roll. Yeah,
I'm still thinking about that sandwich.
The flavors were good, but the bread kind of cuts the aggression of the flavors a bit much, so it actually tones it down a little bit in a very good way. Now my question to you is, I also took you to the farmer's market and you grabbed a bergamot sweet lemon.
I forgot the lemon, man. I forgot the lemon.
Where'd you forget it?
It's with the rest of your citrus.
Oh no, I'll have to go eat it.
Yeah, you should.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you said you were getting one for
the kiddo,
for the boy, and
I told him
about it.
I was like, I bought this. Here's you can send me
don't do that.
Send me a picture, Jeff. Here's a picture of the lemon.
Don't tell the kid what you didn't get him.
Oh, I already did too. I bragged to Karen and Daniel on the way back that I was like, I got this sweet lemon for you. I'm bringing back. Then I got back and I was like, I got nothing. I was like, do you want to? He's got those primers when he gets older. He's got those going for him. All right. But yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. Hope to do it again at some point because it is as lame, not as lame, as cool as it sounds like. That is a fun vacation trip. We were kind of talking it. And you were like, do you want to do any of the touristy stuff? And I'm like, I did all that when I was younger. I've done, I've done Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios. We kind of pieced together probably Florida. But I was like, going to a comedy show, hanging with a friend, and I kind of want to taste the pastrami sandwich now on the thing and see what I like, because I really liked it on the tortillas.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it is very good, and I've turned a lot of people onto that sandwich as well.
All right, Jeff. Well, thanks for hanging. Thanks everybody for watching. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't. Go over to patreon.com/Jeff May. Thank you to Mike Slater for the theme song, as an FYI. Mike Slater, cool guy, cool person.
Yeah.
Cool person that I hope has cool opinions on comics. All right, I'll steal Jeff's stick. And look, Jeff, I didn't hit my stand.
Huh.
Yeah, because I'm a little less clumsy in my space than yours.
I was going to say, you survived, Ray.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
All right, let's see.